Good morning, everybody. I'm going to upload this today, as soon as I'm done. For all my friends in the bluff, we're going to title this The Attempted Murder of My Friend Tennessee by Dirk Kiesler. That's what we're going to call this one. Dirk is one of the guys I have known for about 25 years. Dirk was from Sturgis, Michigan. You say John's going off the wall. Let me give you some insights. I've known Dirk for many, many years. And what Dirk does, a lot of people that live in their vehicles and are homeless are that way because sometimes they worked in their lives, then they had drug or alcohol problems. But Dirk has been on disability. He must have got on it very early on, I guess, because he told me one time the reason he has disability. Now, Dirk has hearing problems. He's kind of legally deaf, maybe. I don't know, because he has hearing problems. But he told me one time, it slipped out. The reason he got disability, like 40 years ago, his whole life he's been on disability. He said because he had a condition where, quote, he would fight with his employer and get fired. So his disability is actually, he doesn't work. That's his disability. Now, as long as I've known Dirk, he's kind of always been critical of every other homeless person. One of my friends, I won't mention the name, but he used to tell me, my other friend actually works. He was a carpenter for many years, but he also went to the lunches and all, but he doesn't do that anymore. I've known him for many years. I won't mention his name. But he used to tell me, Dirk talks bad about every person that eats at Timmons or goes to the feedings. And they're all pieces of shit. They're all worthless. Many of those guys work. Dirk never works. Now, I've known Dirk for many years. And a few years ago, 2 years ago, CCPD, you might want to watch this one. But we had an incident where Dirk almost murdered a friend by the name of Tennessee. I didn't know Tennessee. He was a nice guy, like all my friends, okay? But I just knew him for a short time. But word on the street was Dirk's on the run. Now, he certainly did stab Tennessee, I believe it was twice, with the knife in the chest. I went to visit Tennessee in the hospital, Memorial Hospital, which actually is just closed down. Spawn closed that. That was the trauma center. We used to take ambulance when I worked at the fire department in Kingsville. Whenever we had a very bad wreck or emergency, we would take them to the trauma center, which was Memorial Hospital. So I used to drive into Corpus in the ambulance at 3 in the morning. We didn't like having to make those things. But that was the regional trauma center, Memorial Hospital, which I think they're going to now move it to Spawn Shoreline. So I went to visit Tennessee the day I went to see him in Memorial when he was almost murdered by Dirk. I didn't even know which room he was in. And I don't, his nickname is Tennessee. I never knew his real name. But I figured I'll find him. And I was going up the elevator. And sure enough, I told one of the guys in the elevator, I'm looking for a friend. It was Tennessee's brother in the elevator. I'm his brother. I'm going to go see him. I prayed with Tennessee. Look, I posted pictures of the surgery. Now, Tennessee told me that day that his doctors had said, doctors came to look. It was a miracle he survived because Dirk had cut his aorta, which you normally don't survive that. And Tennessee had a huge scar from neck down. Okay. What I did was I told Dirk, obviously, he had his own story. Dirk's story was Tennessee fell on the knife twice, which nobody believed that. But I just helped these guys, visited Tennessee. Everybody was supposedly Dirk threatened. He set a camp on fire, to kill witnesses, intimidation of witnesses, people. Supposedly that happened, I'm not sure. Some of the guys on the streets, though, told me Dirk has done things like put antifreeze in a drink. So what was told to me. And then he gave that drink to one of my other friends, who I still know. I know his name. So they think that he's got that capability to, like, really go overboard in killing. Well, I told Dirk, because obviously he got arrested, but I said if they ever, he was on the streets for weeks, because Tennessee fled the state. Now, it's the part you guys want to hear. When I told Dirk, if they ever pick you up on the warrant, he has a nice dog. The dog's name is Gunner. I love Gunner. Dirk still has Gunner with him. I said, just drop Gunner off. If they pick you up on a warrant or murder warrant or attempted murder, I'll take care of your dog for you. Sure enough, one night, my wife said, oh, the cops are at the door. There was like 3 cop cars. Sure enough, they did a favor for Dirk. They picked him up on a murder warrant and attempted murder. And I took Gunner. They said, Dirk said you would take care of Gunner, the dog. I did. Now, I had Gunner for 7 or 8 months while Dirk was sitting in the county jail. Now, Dirk, he was going to give me food, money for food for the dog. I said, no, we'll do it all free, Dirk. Gunner was kind of bad. Ripped up a lot of pillows, and but I have other dogs, so he kind of, and I let him sleep with me on the couch, Gunner. Because Gunner knows me. So I like Gunner. He was very nice. And all during that time, I worked with Dirk's lawyer, who was Don Edwards, and the lawyer tried to gather witnesses, because a lot of witnesses testified that Dirk tried to kill Tennessee. And Dirk's story was fake. You know, nobody falls on the big knife twice, okay? Even this week, okay? I'd go to visit Dirk at the county jail. I was just going to help him. At the time, I talked to his lawyer would call me. Dirk would have gotten a charge of assault with a deadly weapon, and he would have done prison time, a felony. But Tennessee fled. Tennessee left. Now, the times I talked with Dirk, he would ask me, where's Tennessee, John? I said, I really don't know, Dirk. I think he went back to Tennessee, and he would tell me, tell him thank you. Thank you for leaving. Thank you. Just, okay. And then the few times I'd go see Dirk at the county jail. But he wanted me to contact his family or to some other people. And one time I was up at the jail visiting Dirk. And then he wrote down the numbers of the people he wanted me to contact, the phone numbers. And I said, oh, I can't take them here, Dirk, because there's a glass there. He said, no, if you go over to this side of the jail, the county jail, whatever floor it was, he said, you're allowed to pass things through, which I doubted. But I went to the area down where the door is. I guess the inmates are on one side. And he's trying to pass me these phone numbers of people he wanted me to contact, like through a slit in the door, like secretly. I said, Dirk, I can't take that. Obviously, that's why the door is here. So all that time, I took care of the dog. I helped. The reason the charge is, he pled to something very minor. But the reason he did that was because Tennessee was intimidated to have left the state. He left on his own, but they had some incidents even after Tennessee got stabbed, almost murdered. Before he left, I was up at Tennessee, okay? It shows me that Dirk has more problems. And when I discussed the case with his lawyer, I tried to just help both sides. I felt, of course, Dirk was lying about Tennessee falling on the knife. Okay. Now, some of the other friends told me, though, that he's had sort of this violent past that maybe other people were not aware of, maybe when he was in Michigan. And that was indicated to me somewhat by the lawyer as well. So I thought, okay. And so Dirk kind of lives on the street, but he always has a vehicle. He stays there. But because of the Tennessee incident, and then others were telling me that he burnt down one of the camps, like to kill the witnesses. That's what I heard. It just made me wonder. And then when I heard the things about putting antifreeze, that's what was told me. He had put antifreeze in a drink and tried to give it to one of my other friends. It just showed me that there's a little more going on. Now, most people avoid Dirk. Okay, most people avoid him. And I probably am one of the only ones that was friendly with him. But you know, Dirk, he kind of was wanting to hit on one of my girls once, okay? Because my kids, of course, they would know Dirk, and if he saw them, he would, like, talk to them. I saw them, and then he told me one day, oh, I saw so-and-so, you know, my youngest daughter. Well, maybe we'll hook up one day, type of... Obviously, that would not be something I would. So it's just been a lot of things. Now, he still is here. And the reason I think he doesn't go back to Michigan, which he normally does, is because he has a history up there as well. All of this, he accesses all the free things. But yet he told me about preacher so-and-so. He's trying to screw his girlfriend, which I'd never believed. This other one. Every single thing that came out of his mouth was, that's fine. But then when you cross that other line with these other scenarios that were told me, it made me think he's dangerous. Now, I am not afraid of my friend Dirk, but it made me think, look, there's people that think he would actually, like, maybe put the antifreeze, which was the story that I heard. Now, all of that showed me, you know, there's problems. Now, he constantly has gone around for the last few years since the Tennessee attempt to say, you know, that Tennessee fell on the knife. No, every witness says, no, that's not true. But he's still, till this day, bad-mouthing Tennessee, and he almost killed. So it just shows me that he's capable of doing this stuff again. So now, this is part of the little experience that I had on the streets. And people should be grateful in the sense that I took the dog. Dirk wanted to pay me to feed Gunner. I said, no, I'll just take care of Gunner. And all of those things. And he had things in pawn shop, guitars, and he was afraid he was going to lose them when he went to jail for the 8 months until trial. So I got all that, kept it here at the house. And it's not just the ungratefulness, it's the danger that he poses. Okay? One of my other friends said, walking through the camps one day, and he didn't know somebody was behind him, but he accidentally turned around, and it was Dirk right on his tail, and he said his face was like in a rage, but there was nothing going on. But just as he was coming in, they were alone, maybe a few years ago. He said when he turned around, he could see there was murder on that guy's face, and then he changed his face real quick. So it just makes me think that. And he parks here. He's got an illegal vehicle. It's not. He's got the meth problem. He used to never do meth. In the last few years, he became a meth addict. So you're driving an illegal vehicle. You probably got meth in the vehicle. So all of that, you should have been grateful for the people that are giving you the free food because you don't want to work. But instead, you're constantly going out after every single person, telling me that, quote, Preacher Dave is trying to screw your girlfriend. And then there's other things about Brother Ray, other things about this one. So it would have been beneficial for you to have left Texas, because you got away with that murder. You should have had an assault with a deadly weapon on you. Okay, so you can all tell, Dirk. John's doing the YouTube videos titled The Attempted Murder of Tennessee by Dirk Kiesler.